innovación es parte del ADN ESPOL y desde hace varios años se ha incorporado en múltiples áreas la metodología de resolución de problemas Design Thinking. Nuestros estudiantes la exploran desde el primer semestre de clases, cuando las aulas se convierten en espacios creativos y de trabajo en equipo. Desde I3 Lab se realizan además entrenamientos para usuarios externos y mediante desafíos de innovación se ofrecen soluciones para la industria centradas en el usuario. La ESPOL es la primera y única universidad de Ecuador miembro de la Red Global Design Thinking Alliance, lo que reafirma el compromiso con la innovación.
Ay, sí. Hola, hola, buenos días con todos los que ya se han estado uniendo en esta actividad virtual que tenemos como parte de nuestra semana de innovación i3 Week. Como saben, la charla que vamos a tener hoy va a ser en inglés por Maria Stashenko, que también ya se encuentra conectada. Yo ya estuve reunida unos minutos antes con ella, le expliqué que iba a dar solamente esta introducción muy breve en español. Ya la voy a comenzar, ya voy a cambiar en inglés en unos minutitos, solamente quería igual aprovechar para darles la bienvenida a todos. Esta es una de las actividades que tenemos dentro de la Semana de Innovación que anualmente organiza el Centro de Emprendimiento e Innovación I3 Lab. Así que bienvenidos todos. Okay. Now I'm going to switch to English. So I want to say everyone good morning from this side of the world, but it's good evening for Maria, who is joining us from Kazakhstan. And I'm really, really excited to welcome her to be our speaker today for the topic Design Thinking Applications in Asia, Lessons for Ecuador. Okay, so just before giving the floor to Maria, I want to remind you that if you want to also share what we're going to hear in this super interesting talk, you can use the hashtags i3week or design thinking, and also you can follow and tag us to reshare your thoughts about this talk using i3 Lab ESPOL. Okay. Now, this activity is part of the i3 week that we have from Tuesday. We started this Tuesday and will last until Friday. So we are very, very glad that Maria accepted to be part of our i3 week this year. I just want, before introducing formally to her, and this is probably a surprise to Maria, I wanted to share you that I met Maria this year, in person, because both of us are part of the Global Design Thinking Alliance. That this is a network of universities and institutions that apply and further develop design thinking in many ways. And this year we had the conference in Potsdam, Germany, and then we had a chance to meet in person, and we really, really made a very nice connection. She's an amazing woman. I really, really admire her and respect her work because she has an amazing personal and professional life. And she is the member of the governance board of the Global Design Thinking Alliance for the next 2 years, if I'm not wrong. So I would like to talk about a few things about Maria, because she has a very, very long things that she has done during her life. Sorry, I think, okay, so, yep. So she's a PhD and she's founder and director of Design Thinking Center Asia in Kazakhstan. She, as I said, she is governing board member at the Global Design Thinking Alliance. She has been author of Harvard Business Review. She studied in Staffordshire University and Hochschule Anhalt. She has more than 20 years of experience in human-centered research, design, and development. She's author of the Playing the Future, a trend watching and trend application methodology applied at the leading universities worldwide, such as Stanford, HBI, Penn State, Western University, and many more. She has also conducted over 2,000 projects in research, product and service development and design, education through design thinking for multidisciplinary teams, and much more. So without further introduction, and let's start with the thing that everyone is here to see and hear. So Maria, again, thank you for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for such an extensive introduction. And it was really very much warm and exciting to see our mutual pictures together at the Hasselblattner Institute recently in September. I'm very much honored and I'm very much excited to be together with you. And while I was preparing, I was thinking about the differences in our time zones, about the differences about our countries and the weather. You know, I'm in a warm scarf because it's quite cold in Kazakhstan. It's a very severe continental climate here. So it's very hot in summer and very cold in winter. And the winter just comes in hours, not days. Very, 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 very fast. So, but now, while I was watching your pictures, your videos, and the introduction of the seminar, I was thinking about how much in common do we have all over the globe, countries and people all together. And it is humanity that connects us all. We do care for our families. We do try to achieve business objectives, you know, and everything is fine. And everything that we do, we try to deliver it to the people all around. So we are all united by this all human-centered purposes and objectives, and we have the same aspirations. I think we have the same expectations, no matter that we have differences in languages. However, I was quite comfortable with the Latin American language and I was listening it with real pleasure. It was really interesting. I hope to come to you in person. Thank you very much, Sharon, for making a first step towards this invitation. And today I will try to share my experience, all the years I have and all the projects, and I will try to make it in simple words and definitely in simple exercises. Because when someone asks me about design thinking, I say, there is plenty of things I can tell about design thinking. Let's make design thinking right now, because design thinking is not about thinking as the name of the method and an approach gives us a sign of some kind of a thinking. It's really about doing together. So design thinking applications, what does it mean? How it really works? How do we understand and deliver it from our part of the globe? And I would like to share some highlights and practical experience of my life and of the projects we've done together with the team. Thank you so much. So let's start. My name is Maria. Yes, I'm from Asia. This is a Design Thinking Center, Asia. What do I think about design thinking? Because it's quite an attitude, you know. Design thinking, to my mind, is a mindset. Definitely, yes, it is. Let's make a short definition of it. It's definitely a method, some approach, and mostly, in many cases, is a hashtag to find knowledge. Because design thinking has its constantly evolving nature. And every time we would like to introduce design thinking to students or to our clients, we use and apply some different explanations of design thinking. And from year to year, it really evolves somehow, because it should be connected to what's going on in the real world. So it's mostly a hashtag. We would like to find something, we would like to Google design thinking. So. And definitely, it's a number of constantly evolving tools to create human-centered decisions. And it happened that I'm already for 20 years in design thinking. Before I set up Design Thinking Center in Asia, a non-governmental public foundation and educational institutions, back in 2004, 20 years ago. This year, we have an anniversary year. I found it wonderful. It's a user experience and design laboratory, one of the oldest companies here at the continent, oldest teams gathering the experience about user research and client experience from that time on. We were founded on October the 1st in 2004. So this October was our anniversary month, and we had 20 years of our experience. So everything I did was connected to the human-centered decisions methodology. So back to Asia. Let's go to Asia. What looks like? Where is it? Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is the largest city in the Central Asia region. And this is Kazakhstan. It's a great steppe. It's valleys among the mountains and many forests you see, and many horses, because this is the country of nomads. For the 5th year already, this year, in 2024, just to give you an overview of what's going on, we had the World Nomad Games. They've been held since 8th to 13th of September, and it was a 5th anniversary meetup of all who understands itself, who believes that he is a nomad. So 89 countries, yes, teams from 89 countries participated in the World Nomad Games. The Kazakhstan was the first country who set up such games from all over the globe, from all over the continents. We had 2,500 participants this year, and there were competitions in 21 varieties of sports. You can see at a glimpse right now the pictures of my slides, the overview. You see the archery, this woman archer at the center stage. You see, yes, it makes it with the not with the hands, but with the legs. You see, it's a very unique way. So you can find out more information about Kazakhstan and about the World Nomad Games. Next year, it will be held here at the Central Asia region, and you have an opportunity to come because it's really low cost. And if you were thinking about making a world travel, I do invite you to the Central Asia region. It will be held in Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan is the neighboring country to the Kazakhstan. Also a very nice place to come and visit and to feel the experience of Central Asia. Please find it via this QR code or follow this link on my slide. I will leave you the presentation so you will have an opportunity to come through again. But it's not only about horses, valleys, mountains, and nomads. It's also about a contemporary city. So you see the picture of the city where I live. This is an Almaty. Almaty is located at the south of Kazakhstan, and this is a valley right at the mountains. You see the weather is quite close to what we have now, and the mountains are covered with snow. It's a very vibrant city and a very contemporary one. More than 5 million people live over there, and it's really developing fast with many industries. This is the picture of the real Almaty today. Today is sunny, and today is just +2 centigrade, +2 grades centigrade. You see that the winter is coming close to us, and while the south of Kazakhstan is still in the warmth, so the center of the Kazakhstan is already a winter with a lot of snow in our capital. The capital of Kazakhstan is Astana. So Design Thinking Central Asia is really located at the region which unites different traditions, and this is a unique mixture of traditions. These are traditions of cooking. These are traditions of making families. These are the right traditions of learning and growing kids. And definitely, these are different traditions of making things. This is the key, what interests of those who work in design thinking mode, because design thinking is about a philosophy and an approach towards making things. So we represent a spot for developing and educating in design thinking for both academia and business. We are not a university, but we are not a company, a commercial company. We're a public foundation which delivers methodological values and knowledge to the universities, because universities here in Central Asia are really the centers not only of education, but also for business development and for governmental development. Any governmental initiative we have in our countries we do grow and start developing within universities. So universities are really vibrant units in countries' life. We go beyond traditional understanding of design thinking and experiment definitely with new areas of design thinking application. Our team combines new tools and methods to improve user experience and also upskill specialists and professionals with human-centered approach and together with empathy. So what do we have? We do have like prototypes of the faculties. This slide will be of most interest to those who work in education. It's not only design thinking, a bunch of design thinking programs. We also have an international certification system which delivers design thinking to the practitioners and to the coaches for those who would like to be coaches. We have a prototype or quite a faculty of customer experience, which is divided into two groups of programs. We have tools and competences in customer centricity and in user centricity. And recently we added professions. So people come to us to get a postgraduate education as customer experience researcher or service designer or customer experience analyst or director. We also have a specific course for the public administration and for the city servicemen. We have customer centricity in public administration. So people who work for government do come to us also to get the fresh instruments and to get the fresh tools on how to work and how to make public services more human-centered. Our headliner program is on future science and trend analysis. It's also a postgraduate program, and we do have a license to educate not only adult people, but teenagers as well. We have a faculty which is called First Profession, and we have a headliner program for the teenagers, which is named Creative Entrepreneurship. Those who are aged from 12 to 16 do come to us in our online course with a tracking experience to get their first profession, so their first specialization, while still they are at school. So it's a very interesting and vibrant course, which is built upon design thinking. Well, actually, everything you see and everything we do build upon the approach of design thinking, this human-centered methodology towards developing products and services. We have a number of courses which are customer experience academy courses. We have the standards which I already told you about, and we have corporate and not-for-profit education and research projects. Our standards design thinking certification system consists of a variety of modules around building up the specific mindset for the design thinking, for building up the skills, and for building up the logical approach to problem solving, which unites and combines all the recent tools which are developing or the tools which we do experiment while making things. Such a nice certification and such a nice certificate our alumni do get together with the silver sign, which is D with a spot, you know, like a D school and a D standards, something which marks the level of the excellence. We also do the projects for charities and customer-centric tools. And we also do design thinking for teenagers and school teachers. We do invite teachers from variety schools and universities who come to us to get the experience of design thinking and to bring it to the school. So like a K-12 program for United States, we do have the same here. With what tools do we deliver the experience? Let's make a short overview. We have developed since 2015 and applied, and Sharon was announcing it, a trend construction tool, which is called the Plan the Future. The trend construction tool will try out today. It helps you to bridge the gap between the knowledge of the current trend in specific industry or worldwide, just any trend, technological trends, economic trends, customer-centric trends, and to apply it with the trend cards which we deliver and which we curate. Each year we renew the number of trends we have right at the moment of idea generation. So when we have idea generation workshops and design thinking, we apply the tool. We definitely apply Legacy Serious Play, which helps us to prototype everything all around, whether it's a strategy or a budget. The Lego really helps to prototype and to see in real life how it will work. We have a specific facility, a shop with the books on design thinking, and we combine a specific facilitator kit. We do design thinking meetups. It's a very vibrant spot where people from a variety areas come to meet for a couple of hours or for one day. We do it together with companies here in Central Asia, and it really works very well because companies bring people on board. So design thinking meetup is not only connected to a specific university or some base like our center. It's been happening all around. What design thinking, which areas is design thinking being applied here in Central Asia? Quite a wide variety of areas. We do apply design thinking for telecommunication companies, for fintech and banking companies, companies producing varied goods like fast manufacturing, consumer goods, FMCG do come to us. City services, yes. Agriculture, yes, we have some projects in agriculture. Even heavy industries like commodity, oil and gas, or metallurgy do apply design thinking for the right areas. We try to put design thinking forward because design thinking helps in a multidisciplinary level create unique projects in different functional areas within the company. It might be human-centered resources, it might be education, it might be even business building up and the processes. So how do we explain design thinking and how do we go with it? Let's go closer to the design thinking. This is the process we apply in many of our presentations and in many of our projects. We apply 6 steps design thinking process, which has a difference between idea generation and idea selection phase. Both within business projects and within students' projects, we noticed that there is a stop factor, which sometimes doesn't help innovators to go forward. When they generate ideas, they already try to solve upon which idea might be good. So we separated these projects and it really started to work out better. Empathy, the first stage, the focus on what we found, idea generation and selection, prototyping and testing steps are key steps in the design thinking process we apply. But what about design and thinking? What is being hidden behind these names? What has been hidden? What is design and what is thinking? We have to name correctly these things when we come to people. So design we interpret as a complex process of making. It's not about specific thing or designing activity. And we have to remember together with you that design thinking as a tool, as a complex methodology was created not in design school, but it was created and joined and formed at Stanford University, at Stanford Engineering School, because David Kelly is a construction engineer and ME 310 or manufacturing engineering 310, the faculty at Stanford, engineers not having drawing skills, not identifying themselves as designers, started to apply this tool in order to multidisciplinary think and rethink and create the vision of the products and services. So design is a complex process of making. And what about thinking? Thinking is really about doing because it is mental activity. It's like a conceptual planning. So when we think, we already make things but we make a very specific object, we make a very specific product. We make a concept, right? We make conceptual thinking. So it says, if we try to make an explanation for the design thinking, we can come to a definition which unites mental activity in conceptual planning while doing a complex process or undergoing the complex process of making. So for us, design thinking is not a specific tool, a very precise in its borders. No, it goes beyond the borders. It's a number of guiding principles in the process of making. It's really a human-centered approach because it's about having an empathy stage at one of each steps. For me, the best explanation by now, after the years of being in design thinking, is some basics not to forget while doing. So when you approach and doing something, whether you are a kid or a teenager doing the first steps, or you are a business person making a real business project, so what shouldn't I forget about? Where should I start? Which way should I start? Which will be the best way for my team to start? You shouldn't forget about empathy. Yes, definitely. Oh, we forgot. We definitely remember about those people for whom we should cater our value. These are our customers, these are our clients, but we mostly think about clients as of people who buy our goods or who get our services, but we do not think about them itself as being, people like us, having their own scenarios, having their problems in combining family life, work-life balance and everything. We shouldn't forget about empathizing. What shouldn't we forget about? Oh, we shouldn't forget about the lean approach. We shouldn't forget about, if we go back to the process, we shouldn't forget to save our resources, because we are always insured of the resources we have in business. It's about prototyping. We forgot about it. Please don't forget about it. Don't forget to go in a testing stage, and of course you need to have a specific approach to idea generation phase, because it's really something that adds value, or like a center stage of the process. So it's also a way to start and organize the process. The last thing about design thinking of activities in product or service development. So basics not to forget. Design thinking is also, if we try to give a very abstract definition to the design thinking, so it's mostly about a philosophy. It's a simple and contemporary philosophy of making. If we would like to draw at one page of our presentation how the process of making looks like in the contemporary world, we'll come to design thinking, because there are stages, 5 to 6, no matter, which will give us an opportunity to see and to feel this philosophy. It's about people. Yes, if we make something. Yes, right. It's about lean approach to the resources. It's about collaboration. It's about working in multidisciplinary mode. So design thinking is a really philosophy of making, which lays behind the service design, the name we all have when it comes to the service system creation. Design thinking is a philosophy for product design and for product management as well. Many people from product management, or just people coming to our courses or activities or being our clients, ask us, we've heard something about empathy and the maps and everything, the frameworks, while we had the product management course or while we had the product design course. Is it the same? Or do you have the difference? Or do they have the conflict between design thinking and product management approach? This picture is a great answer. So it gives an understanding that all these universal steps in the process of making are just the philosophy which lays behind the specific activities we try to represent. It's about complex product service system solution, PSS. Yes, it's a new thing which unifies the service and the product design. And it's really about a very human-centered approach. At the place of design thinking in our work, when we try to compare it with other tools and processes we have, with Agile, with Scrum, with jobs to be done, with many other things, with many ways of creativity thinking, because when someone hears for the first time about design thinking, it comes to creativity thinking. As I said, about the design thinking is about creativity. In our understanding and practice, design thinking lays is a plate, and the piece of a tart is at the plate. So here we can see the working tools and processes. We can see the creativity boosters here. And when we would like to go deep into the design thinking steps, just to uncover something which lays behind the simple process, because I believe you all know this process and have seen the right visual pictures of the design thinking. My favorite author, which goes beyond the very a simple understanding of design thinking is Jean Liedtke. And here is the QR code to her page, her website, the personal website. She's a professor at the University of Virginia's Darden School of Business, and she wrote a really fantastic and very deep book on design thinking, which goes beyond design. It's called Experience and Design, the Innovator's Journey. Jean Liedtke was trying to unfold and uncover the competences which we need at each step of the design thinking process. So if design thinking is the philosophy of making, right, the contemporary philosophy of making things, which competences do we have to develop in ourselves? And which competences do we have to deliver to those newcomers who just making the first steps and activities, like teenagers or students? So which are the competences which lay behind the focus stage, the finding the focus, which lay behind the empathy stage? Which competences do we have to develop? Which competences do we have to develop while prototyping or testing stage? And Jean Liedtke gave the very precise and very deep names to the competences, and these are the new names, right? I believe that not many of you heard about these competences, so let's go and see and meet the competences. At her book, Jean Liedtke applies and uses this process of design thinking at like a set of activities that innovators do, with two big phases: discovery and testing, from gathering data, identifying insights, establishing design criteria, generating ideas, to prototyping and experimenting with prototypes. For each stage, she gives the specific number of minimum viable competences. She calls it MVC, minimum viable competences, we need to go successfully through each stage of this chain of activities. So while gathering data, what's our experience? What's our personal experience, which drives our personal transformation? Which competence do we have to get or deliver within this stage? This as experience of immersion. We have to get the immersive mindset in order to go to the empathy stage, because maybe you've seen those of you who are already practical coaches, who already deliver design thinking lessons and master classes to your students. You see that not everyone is comfortable with empathy stage. If we go to the first stage of design thinking, why is that? Is that empathy is just a piece of our natural psychological portrait, whether we have empathy or we don't? I think it's not, and Jean Liedtke agrees with me. It's not. Immersion and the empathy is something we have to train with a very specific minimum viable competence profile. Another stage is identifying insights. When we have a lot of things after research stage, we have to identify insights. And this stage is really one of the hardest, and not many teams in my professional experience in business are really comfortable with this and are really effective with this. It's about sense making. A competence we have to get, right? Because to work with a large number of research data, the next step we have to do is to make sense from everything, is to find some guidelines, to envision some future steps, or to create some contours of the future vision, some frameworks for the future with some road to go, all together with our team, because sense making is one of the most richest in energy, in mental energy stage of doing things. And stage of establishing design criteria needs our competences of alignment things together. Generating ideas is a new competence, which is called by Jean Liedtke as emergence. We have to train emergence really within the generating ideas, because without it, we can't generate good ideas. Maybe you've seen people in the teams generating many ideas, but plenty of them were really about your business or the topic you create. But you've met some people who generated not much ideas, but the ideas were very inspiring and you wanted to follow them, right? So it's about the competence of emergence. Prototyping needs our competence of imaging. And when we come to the experimenting stage, as a really competence which intrigues me a lot, it's our ability to learn in action. So we see how the prototype works, right? And we've seen it. The prototype works like this. But are we ready to learn how should we rework what we've done? Because, you know, every one of us likes the ideas we have, but how to unlike the ideas at this very precise stage? Because when something is not working, we plan to work, is our frustration and is our willingness to make it work like we wanted. But learning in action requires us other competences, which try to give us an opportunity to go at the other cycle of activities and to do it the other way. So learning in action is a very unique competences. If we come back to the first number of competences, which Jean Liedtke gives us an overview about immersion activities, what are the immersion activities we should train our students to, or we should train our teams to? It's about conducting research, using design tools like ethnographic observation and interviewing. It's about preparing conversation guides, or mirroring or shadowing users. It's about asking users to prepare diaries or capture and take key lists to share. It gives us an opportunity to move from a mindset that is a little bit egocentric, and because we are now certain about the accuracy of one's own perspective, we are quite distant to what's happening. While training and representing immersion, we have to be empathetic. We have to be aware of personal biases and curious or personally engaged. And yes, critical of the obvious definition, we're trying to treat everything as a hypothesis and willing to invest time to understand current reality before developing solutions. Because immersion and empathy is not a favorite stage for those who would like to deliver decisions immediately. If we go to the mindset and the minimum viable competences at the immersion stage, which we have to develop, we have to be sensitive to our biases and blinders. We have to train ourselves to ask good questions or search for areas of opportunities rather than solutions, and probe deeply for root causes, unarticulated needs and beliefs. See, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minimum viable competences which we should train within an immersion phase. So Jean Liedtke really goes deep dive into the process of making and into the contemporary philosophy of making with design thinking. If we are still at the immersion stage, it's really not a simple stage at the design thinking process, because it's about stepping into the unknown. It's intimidating, because we listen mostly to judge upon our position rather than to understand. It's really challenging to be fully present and not listen to the solutions we already have in mind. It's also about that we've been told that real data has numbers, and the purpose of data gathering is proof. And when we are at the immersion phase, it might be just one interview with one respondent, which really inspires us. So it's not about objectivation of the situation. It's about researching for inspiration. So, Jean Liedtke gives us an opportunity to make a small self-assessment at each competences of each stage of design thinking. So together today, we see very precisely at the immersion stage. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 statements with which you might agree strongly or not agree. From 1 to 5, you see the scale here, and get the assessment total. Let's, by now, I will put the timer on, and I invite you to do self-assessment together. Right now, there will be these 7 statements, and you can choose the number at the scale, which is describing your attitude to this statement more closely. And please, when you are ready, sum them up, and you can share the result at our chat. So my total scale and my total number for the immersion, I'll share it first, is 23. So let's share your numbers. I will put the timer on 2 minutes. You can see the timer on my slide. And please make a small self-assessment exercise. How immersive are you? I will now try to open up the chat. Open up the chat. Oops, yes, I can see. Can you chat here? Can you chat here? Yes, you can. What are your numbers? Great, Sharon, thank you. So mine is 23. Thank you. Really interesting. 24. Oh, Natalie, great. We're close to you. Total. Gomish, 18. Yes, I can see. Anibal, 22. Sharon, 25. Higher than me, Sharon. I will try to develop minimum viable competences to follow you. Daniela, 22. Great results. The highest number total, if you all have marks, the 5 marks, is 35. Is 35. So we all have an area for improvement in immersion, 25, 22, 18. Thank you so much. Yes, total 21. Great. So if you would like to be more immersive, Jean Liedtke in her book and in her tool set invites us to join some exercises in order to improve. It's only about immersion. So, but in the book, you can go through the self-assessment at each stage, and try to assess your learning and action competence or emergence competences. I think 23, yes. Thank you so much for great participation. Thank you for your activity. Because it's sunny Ecuador, right? The colder you go at the globe, the more the less passion you find in participating in activities. Thank you so much, Henry. Thank you, Naomi. Thank you, everyone, for participation. So let's go further. Let's go further, guys. So back to the process of design thinking and the process of making. A very practical question, which we usually being asked: why should we develop design thinking? Why should we practice design thinking? More often we listen, it's really about why should we practice or why should we apply design thinking, but I put it like, why should we develop design thinking? Because we have to develop design thinking, because this is a philosophy which lays behind the contemporary way and approach towards doing things, towards the process of making. No? It's about understanding the basics of making things, cycle of activities, yeah, of what not to forget. It's about knowledge and application of collaboration guidelines. It's also about ability to identify missing steps or components in activity. It's really important for the students, because students do not have, like from a blank page, they do not have an idea or a very strong visual in mind how the process of making and doing things looks like. And design thinking gives a very strong and very precise and a very simple understanding. And when you start to do something, or while you are doing something, because doing is really complicated process and many people coming in, and it's a multidisciplinary process, whether it's within a student lab or whether within a business process, it's real business, right? You have to be able to identify which steps we've missed and what doesn't give us to go to the effective solution. Design thinking, why should we develop, is also an ability and ingenuity to transform many canvases, many templates, and all other applied working techniques, because there are so many things happening around and many things being newly presented nearly each day within the working processes and within the manufacturing processes. A design thinking gives the key, is really key, to transform these canvases and to make an application to the real life. It's definitely the ability to like unravel in difficult moments of work and help others where to go. And for the first time, it's not the last. It's human-centered process, both inside towards the employees and towards the people in our team, and definitely outside, because the empathy is the key stage and the first one we have to start from. Another small exercise, design thinking blitz. Let's create human-centered solutions in 2 minutes. We'll have the 2 minutes and we'll have the task. This time we'll have the task. It's not a simple task. So you remember the process is empathizing, is focusing on idea generation. We'll probably in 2 minutes, we'll have not much time for prototyping and testing, but we'll definitely do the 1, 2, 3, and 4th stage of design thinking. So let's go forward. This is the empathy stage. What do you see, guys? You can put it down in the chat. What do you see here? Like ethnography, like train ethnography tools. Yes, I'll go to chat. Yeah, what do you see here? What is this picture about? What's happening here at this photo? Do you know? Hey, don't be shy. Be sunny. Do write in the chat what's happening. A young person explain how function any app of her phone. Thank you, Andre. Yvonne, a grandmother and her granddaughter are great. So you see the differences, right? Grandma showing family pictures, a young person like a daughter, not a granddaughter, daughter explaining her mom how to use something on her teaching. Thank you, Johnny. Very like conventional, very abstract teaching, sharing and teaching and sharing. Right, precisely. Look how different we see the same picture, how many experiences we have and how many perceptions. It's really interesting. Look at this chat. So yes, someone young is trying to someone elder to help with the phone, to help with the functions. It really is with patience. Yes, grandma, someone. It's a real life picture. How do you think this situation, is it a rare picture in a life or a common picture? A common, yes. In many countries, right? In your country, in my country, and everywhere. Yes, it's mostly a common picture. It's not a rare thing. And how do you think in the nearest future, will we see the separation of the families or living families united? Because when an elder person needs help, it's not only from a family helping her like a granddaughter or a daughter, it's maybe some other assistant, because elder people, the trend is for family separation because it's urbanization coming all over the globe, and definitely we will be living separate with our kids, with our families, because there is a lot of business and the vibrant life happening all around, and many elderly people will need more and more in the future as a global trend our assistance. So how do we deal with this situation? If we work in a large company, like be communication company, telecommunication company, phone production company, how do we deal with this? How do we embrace this situation, embrace this trend? And we come to the next stage of design thinking, which is usually connected to the how might we question. We have to make the focus, because now we've made very fast in our ethnographic exploration. We've seen the picture, we gave the interpretation, and now we are ready to ask the question, how might we? Which questions might you formulate? You can put it in the chat as well. How might we, when we see the situation and when we give the interpretation, how might we, what should we do? What will be the guideline for the creative team? Which questions should we put as challenges? Do you have any ideas? How might we what? How might we help, right? Something. My questions are, how might we help to learn a new phone? Yes, we see, and we may formulate this. This is sense making. Jean Liedtke told us that we are doing right now sense making. How do we overcome, how to overcome the fear of new products, right? Or how might we help introduce new features? And maybe other questions which might come to our mind. The more questions we have, the how might we formulations, the better ideas we'll get. Let's follow these three questions. How might we help to learn a new phone? How to overcome the fear of new products? And how might we introduce new features? And follow Samsung, a phone production company, who was making a project. And this picture is precisely from this project. Let's generate ideas in 2 minutes, because Samsung team, all together with the Helen Hamlin Research Center at the Royal College of Arts, was thinking together with the students over these topics. So how might we, I started the timer to help, how might we help to learn a new phone? How to overcome the fear of new products for the elder person, and how might we help introduce new features? You can generate ideas the same as we did at the previous exercise and put your ideas at the chat. They might be any ideas. They might be products and services, assistants or helpers, virtual or offline, any ideas which spark and go into your mind following these questions. You can write down any idea comes to your mind, you can write down. So how might we help to learn a new phone for the elder person? How to overcome the fear of new products? Or how might we help introduce new features? With examples or experiences? Oh, yes, great, Denise, thank you so much. Yes, with examples or experiences. Virtual assistant, yes, because we are living in a world of definitely artificial intelligence. Sharon, yes, provide a virtual assistant that appears, generating TikTok video. Whoa, cool, to learn about new model phone, yes. What more? What more? Any more ideas? 18 seconds left, 16. What might be else? Oh, we are off the time. Building, thank you, Henry. Great. Building a digital animation tool for support. Yes, a digital animation tool. Yes, we are a generation of digital communications, and with artificial intelligence. So each of our idea and our vision will be definitely framed by this trend we are living in. But it was back in time before. Oh, Yvonne, thank you. Delivering demo products on consignment with instruction for a week. Great idea. Yes, great idea. Goes beyond the artificial intelligence. So, but this project took place before the era of artificial intelligence, and they were very creative solutions being done and being delivered with the help of the British studio, which is called Special Projects. As a student, I took part at this project from the Royal College of Arts and the University of Staffordshire. There is a specific research center at the Royal College of Arts in the United Kingdom, which is called Helen Hamlin Center. And this center is dedicated to researching and delivering creative solutions to help elderly people go through. It's all about medicine technology, it's all about behavioral studies, and many, many things happening. So it's about Helen Hamlin Center. And once we were invited to participate at such a project, and Samsung was a client for the Helen Hamlin Center. We've been testing and trying out the right prototypes. We were working with the elderly people who joined our panel of participants and these projects. And one project really counted on best numbers of our KPIs because we were counting, guess what we were counting? We were counting smiles on the faces of our panel participants. The more smiles we had, the better understanding of the prototype they had, because these were really older people, you know, and sometimes they had no opportunity to give us proper explanations. They were just using and smiling these prototypes. We had from 5 to 6 prototypes, and this one showed the best results. I would like to show it to you too. Let's see. There might be no sound, don't be afraid, because it's just a video roll. Just see. We noticed during this project that elder people really have the most frightening moment in the process of starting a new phone. It's switching them on, switching it on, and they didn't switch it on anyway. So no artificial intelligence solutions were helping. It's really frightening for them. They're frightened to do something wrong. So we went back the steps of the customer journey map, and we started the collaboration earlier before the switching. It seems the time is off. And it seems that I have half of the presentation being left without giving you the insights I prepared, because I was preparing thoroughly for this meeting, but I'm happy that we went through the key things about design thinking and the new understanding, and we went through the minimum viable competences idea, which lays behind, and the philosophy of this tool. I was happy to show you this funny video, and I hope you liked it as well. I would like to finalize with the last slide of my presentation and leave a QR code for my LinkedIn profile. I will be happy to share the presentation with all the slides we haven't seen today, and I hope it will be a small intrigue for you. And I'm really thankful for you for your active participation, and grateful to you, Sharon, for inviting me. I hope it was an interesting experience from Central Asia to Ecuador to you. With love.
Thank you very much, Maria. Thank you very much for your presentation. And yes, I think that all of us were like, like waiting for more and more information, because it was a really, really exciting and interesting one. It's 10, as you said, but I would like to open, the opportunity, just if anyone would like to make like question, probably just for 5 minutes or so. If anyone has to leave, we understand. But just I want to make sure that we can take the opportunity that you are here with us to see if anyone would like to, to put a question. Let me check the chat. Everyone is thanking you, of course, for such a very interesting presentation. So let me check. If we have any questions, it will be time to put it in the chat, or even if you want to open your microphones. Let me check.
Yes, you can make it in audio, or you can put it in the chat. I will definitely answer your questions via LinkedIn and accept your invitations. It will be great to exchange the experience further. So, but if you have any fast question, I will be ready to answer.
Yep, just let's see if in the chat or if anyone have any questions.
I think, yes, there is one question. I can see one. What can you tell us about a project that is really made? Where should we start to make an improvement? So, where should you start when you would like and make a real project of improving, right? Of improving some product or service, where to start? It's a great question, Yvonne, and thank you so much for participation, for active participation. When we have this process of activities, of these steps of what not to forget, as I define it, we really can start from any stage, from any step. And when we already have a product or service, let's perceive it not a real or ready-to-made product or service. Let's perceive it as a prototype. So this will be the 5th stage of the design thinking, right? When we have a product, the product which is already working and we have to improve it, the next step will be a very evident one. We have to go in testing. Try to test out, try to gather as much information about your product as you have. Usually, product or service teams do have many data or data from various sources, so they have a lot of things. And they had aches because of the number of data. Sometimes they are in a situation of analysis paralysis. There is an English phrase for this, analysis paralysis, when you are paralyzed with a number of data and you don't know what to do. Many signals here, many things happening there. Then the design thinking philosophy gives us a road to go, a way to follow. It's about try to take the things, some number of data, some pieces of data, which will give you an opportunity to improve something in 2 weeks' time, because 2 weeks is a usual sprint time. And if your team can do something within 2 weeks, then it will be the first very solid step of the improvement. Let's go and put all the other data in a backlog and just select everything we can do specifically for our client within these 2 weeks, or 2 hours, or 2 minutes, because today we have an exercise for the 2 minutes, and many ideas came to us, right? So it's about starting out the design thinking process, or the way of making things from any step within this chain of steps. It's not about just empathizing. We have to be precise with the, how do we start? And the second stage is about focus, making focus on the data, or, insight gathering. It's not that way. So if you have something, you can start from the 5th step of the design thinking, or from the 3rd step of the design thinking. If you have a very passionate, very fast team, they said, hey guys, we have the task, let's generate ideas. And as a design thinker or a specifically trained person, you might be a little bit embarrassed because you say, hey, let's stop a little bit with idea generation. Let's go to the research stage. Don't do it. My experience, do let them generate ideas, because you have other steps not to forget. When you have ideas, You can go to the empathy stage while generating ideas. You can do it together in co-creation with the people you create for, or with your real clients. So it's really a mixture of the things you shouldn't forget while you do things. And it will be really highly acceptable in a business atmosphere, in a business process, because it's really more tight in terms of relationship, in terms of deadlines, in terms of resources you have than in a learning lab, So it's a great question, and this is my answer. Thank you so much, Ivan. And there is another question, right?
Yes, from Jonathan.
Yes, I see. Thank you so much. When developing new solutions, there are many ideas that are not continued but still have some value. What would you recommend to manage the knowledge in an effective way, or should it be discarded? Again, great question, Jonathan. Thank you so much. We already have, we often have discussions with our business teams who come to get the educational design thinking and human-centered design about this issue. Because there might be 150 ideas within 2 hours generated by the team. Really, we have tools which give a unique opportunity to generate a lot of ideas, or even more. How to work with them further, all the solutions which are not like being at the surface. Oh yes, we'll do that, and the others should be rethought or joined together, or something reworked. My advice is to create the working process, because design thinking is the philosophy of making. It's not a tool which we apply within 1 day or 2 days or within a couple of hours and then throw away. It's not a tool, it's a philosophy. If it is a philosophy, then a working team should create an atmosphere and the process of operations within design sprints, for example, or within the sprints, if you work through agile methodology or through Scrum, with a healthy atmosphere. We name it specifically this term. You should have a healthy working process. A healthy working process is a working process which helps you, which lets you utilize and try out and test out all the ideas the team has. Because there is a product. Imagine there is a product team and they make a new phone, like in our today example, and they always think about new features and everything. And they see the constraints and they get the fresh data from the consumers and from the market. And the ideas come fastly from day to day, from hour to hour in their heads. If these ideas will be left within these people, our company will lose its positions. But if we'll have an idea to put this away, a process to put these ideas and to try it out in small pieces through a process of hypothesis testing within the real product, through gathering the ideas at the specific parking lot maybe, or some intellectual space in the company where everyone can fastly put the ideas, we try to make the working process more healthier. And the healthy process really delivers very, very high results. So we'll be going step by step at this ladder to the success. It really works. Okay, so we must make design thinking a part of the culture. Absolutely. This is why should we develop design thinking. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Maria, for taking the time to answer these 2 questions. Thank you, our participants, to be so actively engaged also in this talk. And well, as Maria already offered, she will share her presentation. And since we have your email addresses, because when you registered for this talk, we can share with you also the presentation that Maria is going to send us. So thank you very much again, Maria. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today virtually.
Have a great I3 week. Thank you so much for the invitation. It was very nice. And I will throw my scarf off because it was such a warm welcome. I don't need any more to warm it here in Almaty. Bye bye.
Thank you, María. Bye bye. Los esperamos en nuestras próximas actividades del i3 Week que tenemos hasta el día de mañana. Pueden chequearlas en i3lab.org/i3week. Muchas gracias a todos y feliz resto de semana y fin de semana. Pasen bien. Muchas gracias.